Make sure when you're the host that your mic is not muted.
I
And
was
we
about
get
to
some.
say, yeah.
I was just
Yeah,
coming to bust your balls about that.
I'm new. We're on real stream, so it's all new for me. But welcome everyone to Man-O-Rama. This is a new little thing we're testing out and everything because that's what we do. This is what the 107th, 108th annual. I feel like it's the Oscars, and I don't have any awards for anyone. Let's go around the table. Vincent, how's your week been?
Absolutely capital, my man.
That's nice.
Absolutely capital.
Rick,
I'm doing all right. I'm still.
he went mute.
Yeah, I didn't. I can't hear him.
No, he
Sorry
muted.
about that. I am playing with settings in 3 different places because okay, there we go.
No worries.
For some reason, we weren't getting the audio on my side, but now we are. So anyway,
Okay.
no, I'm all right. It's been a crazy few days, and I'm still
Yeah.
here. Oh,
There
by
you
the
go.
way, I meant to tell you, since you're getting used to this new setup, when you play a video on the bottom where it shows all the different scene setups, far left-hand side takes everybody off the screen.
That's nice to know.
I tried to tell you earlier, and I was muted, so I just figured I'd tell you now.
Hey, I like it. Canadian Spider-Man, how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been a fantastic week, Steve. Another week here in British Columbia where it hasn't really gone too much down below freezing. So we've been having outdoor bonfires, and we have to go up in the mountains to get a bit of snow. So we went out and built some snowmen, and then shot them with shotguns. So that was fun.
How's the chicken?
Yeah.
Oh, the chicken was fantastic. That's why I had to have the camera off because I was
Was it bone and all?
No, I still have the bone down here. I'll show you later.
Giggity.
Lordy. I'm surprised.
You know
you're here.
what?
How you doing?
Yeah. Why? You think I'm still burning through my lotto winnings?
Yes.
That money's gone, dude.
Yeah, and you didn't even buy us lunch, you prick.
Yeah.
Well, what can I say? No, I'm doing good. I'm feeling a lot better. I finally got over that man cold that was plaguing me for 2 weeks. And okay, I love my barber. She's fucking awesome. She really gets in with a straight razor when she's shaving my head. But I got a one of those Bulldog Gold balders, and those things are fucking awesome.
Nice.
So my life is complete. But no, work's good. Weather's good. I wish we'd get some snow up here in the Sierras, but whatever.
Hmm.
Can't have everything. Where would you put it?
I know. And Elan, so we have a special guest tonight. This is a fun episode. I'm gonna like this one. Elan Carter is joining us tonight. How was your week?
Oh, my week has been pretty good. I'm actually in LA, so you know what's going on in LA, but the last few days have been like awesome. Um, it's kind of quiet and it's actually there's less traffic. Usually we have a lot of traffic, so it's been really easy to get around. So yes, I'm having a good week. And I'm having fun tonight.
Yeah, there you go. Tell us a little bit, just shortly, because you're we'll get to more about you later on in the show, but tell us a little bit about you so people who are watching can kind of go, but like, who is this chick and what's she doing on a man show?
I know. So my name is Elan Carter. I was a former Playboy playmate. I was a model. I was an actress. I was on Seinfeld. I did like Fresh Prince. I did a movie with Matt LeBlanc. So I was acting for a while. Lots of stuff. A lot of music videos. We could get into that later on. And I grew
Yeah.
up in LA, and I have a well-known stepfather, so I was around the industry, and my son's now in the business. So that's who I am, and now I actually have a podcast too. It's called The Elan Effect. So, and it's just now, it's brand new, it's still going. I was on another podcast for a long time, for a year with someone else. But then I kind of branched off and doing my own thing now. So you guys all have to come on and visit.
Yes.
Fun.
Did you hear that, Canadian Spider-Man?
Yeah, no, that's fun. Absolutely. I'm fired
Bring
for
some
that.
food. Bring food when you come.
Oh, wait. Steve, lift that bottle up. What is it? What is it?
What bottle?
Lift it up. Lift it up. Lift
This
it up.
one?
It's
Okay.
my
Okay.
my housemate's beer.
Okay.
Okay.
Coors.
If it was rum, I would have to end you. So
Yeah, no, they. We're
Man,
not
I
gonna
grew
go
up
and
on
do that
C
again.
minus. I've got nothing but love for yellow bellies and C minus.
Yeah, we're not gonna do the rum again. Not the Sailor Jerry. No.
No. My week has been pretty chill. It's trying to get this job coming in to where we can work on a house, and I cutting back on alcohol, which is good. It's it's a little excessive, But I found out about this thing: 0% alcohol. I'll drink like 20 cans, and guess what? I can still drive perfectly, so I don't care.
That's awesome.
Yeah. See, Vincent.
The interesting thing is he couldn't drive perfectly before. Now he can.
Well, that's because his phone books and his pedal extenders came in.
So I'm gonna go Kurgan on your ass. You will always be weaker than I.
Yes. So tonight we're not doing with how this episode is. We're not going to do "Don't Be That Guy," mostly because I couldn't find anything. But we're not going to blame it on that. But we are. We're going to get into a little bit about tonight's episode. Is kind of a combo. It's more of like what the government doesn't tell us. There's some little things here and there, and also us asking Elan her career and all that stuff. But I have a question for everyone. What's something that you would want the government to be truthful with? Canadian Spider-Man.
You. I would personally. I would personally like to know who Trudeau's real father is. That's something I'm curious about. Yeah.
All right.
It's Castro. We all know it's Castro.
Damn it! I thought it was Frank Sinatra.
My guess.
Oh, Frank
But it
Sinatra.
could
Maybe.
be. She was a whore, so you never know.
She was a woman of loose moral fiber.
Well, a married woman, yeah.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Um,
Allegedly.
Good point. Always throw that in there. You never know. Some Canadian lawyers might be listening. So.
And Rick.
Why have they not told us the truth about aliens? Because I know they exist because one works for my network. Just saying.
I think he tried to jump on. I gotta let him know. I guess there's only 6 people allowed to be on, but yeah.
I'm talking to him in Discord. He knows.
Okay. I'm always curious. Does Jeff go ET phone home when he rings the doorbell?
Elliot.
Orby.
I know you're all going to think I'm going to say the Mandela effect, but the government wouldn't have anything. I mean, wouldn't know anything about that. I wish the church committee and I wish that they didn't bitch out when investigating the CIA about the MK Ultra project, because I mean that went much deeper than just the CIA. You had the Navy with Operation Sea Spray testing biological agents on the residents of San Francisco just to see if it'd work. You had the dosing. You had Midnight Climax with the CIA dosing people with LSD and putting them up with prostitutes, trying to see if they would when the best time to pry information out of them when they were fried. Just the whole extent of the MK Ultra experiments would just.
Oh, God damn it, Ordy! I missed you.
I've been here all along. In spirit. No, but I wish that the committee didn't punk out, and then we actually got a real investigation into that.
All right. Vincent.
Okay, I wouldn't ask our government, but I would like to ask the British government one particular thing. Why, when Mohandas Gandhi went to London in 1888 to go to law school, He stayed from 1888 until 1891. Now, Jack the Ripper's first murder was in 1888, and his last murder was in 1891. Why have we never found out who it was?
Interesting.
It was Gandhi, allegedly.
Case closed.
Yeah, talking about the British government, one of the things I'd like to ask him is why does Lego have to put warning labels on them saying "Do not eat," but English food doesn't?
Now that you say Lego, I have the Back to the Future Lego set, and 2 years later, they put a bunch of warning signs of "Do not eat." I want to know what redneck family allowed their kids to eat all the Lego sets. Hear that? Because it's only a redneck family is gonna be like, "Hey, Bubba, you can eat this." It's true. Elan, what is something that you would like the government to be a little bit truthful about?
Well, I was going to respond to the Jack the Ripper thing.
Okay.
because
Please
I
do,
lived in
please do.
England, and I did that walk, right? So if you dig into it deeply, it's definitely someone very prominent that they think it was the doctor or whatever that did those murders. It's interesting because they tell you so much history that they don't tell us, especially being there. And most of the British people kind of know the backstory. But I wish that they would tell us the truth about the drones because I don't think they're aliens. I am interested in the whole alien thing. And I think that because they've been here for so long, I want them to be upfront about how we really are, we're created, right? Anunnaki, I don't know. I mean, that's what they say, but I would like for them to be honest and tell us that the drones are not the aliens. That's them doing the drones in the sky and going, "Hey, they're aliens are
Of course
landing."
it
Yeah.
is. Of
Right.
course it is.
The aliens are already here. As far as I'm
been
sure
here.
they are.
For me, it's more of the JFK files. I want to know. Like, I have a feeling I know who it is, but I just want to know, you know?
It
It's
was
like
the
an
comedian. You saw Watchmen. It was the comedian. He did it.
It's like an itch.
Did you see there's a tape from a different angle and it has
What?
one of the Rothschild women, one of the Rothschild, and she's standing near the tree. And then they altered the second photo and the tree's not there. But she was
geez.
there in the background when it happened.
See,
That's a
this
theory.
is why.
Heard briefly about that.
Yes.
I
You
gotta
need to
dig
dig
into that
into
more.
it because the evidence is there. If you follow it, you see her. And then they go back and talk about why they wanted him not around. But now that we
remember,
know they rule the world, it
They
makes
said
sense.
it in one of those James Bond movies. Some of the best KGB snipers are women. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. This is what. Whenever I see footage of like drones or like Bigfoot or anything, as someone who does editing, it is probably the funniest thing because the government probably sucks the most. I'm like, you could pay an editor in Hollywood a couple $1,000s and make it really nice. No, we're just gonna do this and that, and I'm like, buddy, I know the cut right there. I know that the moon landing. I see the cut there.
I was going to say that. I was going to
Yeah,
bring that
The
up.
moon landing.
Moon landing.
Like, I know maybe we went to the moon. I can't say because I wasn't born then, but I know they actually filmed footage for just in case situations. I know that for sure. Maybe when we went to the moon, I'm not sure, but I know.
Well, the thing is, the moon landings were fake, and they had Stanley Kubrick film them, and out of realism, he insisted on filming on location.
Yeah.
oh goddamn, I missed you.
So here's a question I have for you guys, and Elan, I do. This is a good question because Elan's here. I do want to get a woman's perspective of this. How should men handle these situations when the government says one thing, but like how should men handle those things? Because it does bring up a lot of questions.
Well, I always say stuff like, And I know men are very, like, their brain works different. They're very black and white. They're very factual. When women are more intuitive,
Mhm.
which we have to be intuitive because when you have a baby, you don't know if your baby's hungry, if they're in pain, they need to eat. So we naturally are built have that in us, right? So innately we know, we kind of feel stuff. Most women do. So I think men should kind of listen to a woman's opinion, and you can always not necessarily agree with her, but apply some of that beliefs to what you think. Because a lot of times, most of the time, she's probably right, dead spot on. Just like you can walk into a room and feel someone's energy. You know how people say, hey, how do you know you don't like that person? And now we know that everybody's about like, it's really energy. We're all energy. So you can walk in a room and feel someone like they don't have good energy. Usually a woman can pick up on what's going on. And
Mhm.
she'll usually just tell her perspective and just listen. You can choose to believe it or not, you know.
I went I went to a gun or a hole puncher because of YouTube, hole
Yeah.
puncher defense class, and this guy gave a good what you're saying, Alon, is a guy said in case something comes in, a guy is wanting to first react real quick. I'm going to take this person out, yada yada yada. But the wife or the woman, girlfriend, or whoever is going to be like, well, hold up, where are they? How many are there? And then just break this down mathematically, and the guy's just gonna stand there, like, "Oh fuck." He's
Yeah,
like, "I
because
don't know."
it's my son who's he's young, right? He's 20, but he gets so angry because he's in the music industry and it's so crazy. You guys see what's going on in the news with Diddy and all that. So, like, most of that stuff's true, but that's near hearsay. We go to events and we go to parties, and because I grew up in the music industry, I could walk into a room and read the room. And he gets so mad at me, and he'd always tell me, "Oh, you're exaggerating. Oh, you're just making it up." All the things I said about everybody turned out to be true. And he goes, I can't believe you were telling me the same thing. Like, for years, I was telling him what was going on. But usually, women can read a room. I can look at body language and usually read a person. So
Mhm.
I think that has a lot to do with it. We just don't look at, oh, I gotta react, because we don't react. That's the difference. I could look at someone's the way their posture is, the way they talk. I could have a whole conversation with someone and get what I need out of them just by having that 5 minute conversation. But they don't realize that I'm asking them questions. And women are good at that. So I think men should just pay attention because we pay attention to details and you guys don't pay attention to details.
See, every guy watching right now, pay attention. If a woman starts questioning, there's a reason. I'm not kidding.
Like if you get
Um,
a bad vibe, if your wife is telling you, I don't like that person, I have a bad vibe, pay attention. Most of the time we can tell.
yeah, I've gotten that conversation from my wife. She'll be like, "Hey, look, this," and I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah.
She's
And
like,
you're like,
"No."
no, he's my friend. I'm like, he's not your friend. He's not your
Yeah.
friend. You know?
Yeah. If shit feels hinky from the get go, follow your
Yeah.
gut.
That's your gut feeling. Like there's no reason to question that. Curiosity kills the cat because you are being curious and then you end up getting in trouble.
Yeah.
We all instinctively have it. It's just that men don't tend to pay attention to it as much as women. And I think that's because we're mothers. That's why. Even before you become a mother, that's just naturally built into you.
I can agree to that. Vincent.
Yes.
Yes. Uh, how how should men handle what the government doesn't tell us? Like, if you have like a family member that's freaking out, like the aliens are coming, we live in the Matrix and all that crazy. Like, if a guy's flipping the fuck out and like we live in the Matrix, and then like one guy's like Jeff is an alien, like how should men handle like chaos and all these things?
Uh, Me personally,
Eat anchovies.
with heart, faith, and steel. That's it. That's all you can do. Be calm, because people around you can pick up on panic like that. If you're calm and handle shit, people won't panic. Once they panic, it's done. That's all there is to it.
You
I
forgot
have a
booty.
I have a question. So, did you guys remember last year that young family that saw those aliens when those young guys were fixing their cars in their backyard? And it was in Las Vegas. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
We did.
ashamed I
Rick and I
saw
did a
that.
show on that.
So how do you stay calm when you see the alien standing over you like that? How do you handle that one?
I don't know. I guess I'd cross that bridge when it comes to it. There are 2 people I've ever feared in my life, and both of them are dead. So right now, I don't have a problem with it. But if I saw an alien, yeah, I'll be brutally honest. I'd probably be shitting peach pits. But like
Exactly.
I said, I'll deal with it when the time comes.
Don't lie. You'd be like, "Do you want anchovies on your meal, in your soup?" That's what you would do. You'd be like, "Can I cook you something?"
Hang on, I got something in my eye, Steve.
You're gonna be making 5 anchovies because you want fried
Yeah,
stuff.
and then you're gonna have me over, and I'm gonna eat it all, and you're like, "I knew it. You're an alien." I'm like, "Whoa."
Orty, get the
Orty.
Reese's Pieces. They like Reese's Pieces.
Yeah. Orty, how would you?
Okay,
Yeah.
I thrive on chaos. I really do. It's
I know
actually
you do.
my best element.
He's
And,
burned through enough Twitter accounts to.
Yeah. That's Speaking of really quick segue, you mentioned the Rothschild. I actually got into a Twitter beef with a Rothschild once in the wild.
Yes,
What?
it was amazing.
Wow, about what?
I can't even remember what it was about, but it was.
It just
But,
involved
it
involved a lot of insults and shit posting. It was
Yeah, it really did. But
it
you know
was
what? He
awesome.
ended up. He was actually quite gracious about it. And I think it's because he knows that at some point his family owned my surf family's ass. So just kind of like. But he took it all in stride. He was a good sport about it all. But I think the topic came up with the inbreeding. But yeah. So.
Well, that's the same thing with the British royal family. That's exactly
Right,
what's
yeah,
going
that's,
over there.
their family tree is a telephone pole.
Romans, yeah. Romans as well.
But I don't know, in that instance with the aliens walking up with the dudes working on their car, I got 2 modes. I'm either gonna freak the fuck out or offer them a mint.
They said that they smell really bad. Like they could smell them like a mile away.
They absolutely needed a mint then. Maybe some I don't know, some
Lysol.
some Dr. Squatch soap, some I don't know.
Have you tried Axe
Wait,
body?
wait, they're allergic to water. So
Are they allergic to water? Really? Is that what they said?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
Mel Gibson did a movie about that. That's the key. It's allergic to water.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the other thing. Have you guys watched? I know we just
Invading a
went on.
planet that's 70% water when water kills you. That's some hoopty bit of thinking right there.
Yeah, that's
One alien's like, we missed this by a long shot. We're screwed.
This was not a tactically wise decision.
Whose idea was this? It was
Yeah.
Bob's. But I speaking of
I'm sorry,
water-
guys. My daughter just came in.
oh no, it's all good.
She's
Speaking
running.
of water as aliens kryptonite, have any of you guys watched the Mel Gibson Joe Rogan podcast?
Yeah, I haven't. No, I mean I watched Joe Rogan. I haven't seen the one with Mel.
No, now I have to go find it.
So when you watch it, I ended up watching. It took me 2 days. I spent majority of it watching in one night, and I've met Mel Gibson before, and I knew he was a little kooky.
Yeah, it's
meaning he took a lot of cocaine at one point in his life, and watching.
What a happy coincidence!
But watching Mel Gibson and how he actually can break things down, I'm like, man, you're not that crazy. Like, you got some weird sides to you, but like how he actually was talking to Joe Rogan about some things, because it's like Joe Rogan asked him about evolution. He's like, in my opinion, I don't know. I was like, that's the best answer. If you don't know, just say, in my opinion, I don't know. This is what I might be. But for some reason, that just popped in my head when you said water, and I thought of science. But, yeah, Rick, how should men handle, the better question is, how should men handle chaos when people freak
Can you
out
hear
about
me?
when the government doesn't say things? Yeah, we can hear you.
I kind of froze.
The
I'm gonna have to
easiest
go
way.
out and
Vincent
come
already.
back in.
Yeah, you can do that.
if you can keep your head when all around you are losing theirs.
Yeah, I was gonna say already pretty much covered it. No matter what you're dealing with, the best thing to do and look, I get it. It inside and outside are completely different things, but you do have to maintain an outward facade of calm no matter what. I mean, and the thing about it is, most people don't know this, but I used to dodge bullets for a living, so it's something that I've been trained to do. Unfortunately, there was one time that we really should have bobbed, but that's a story for another show. But so the biggest thing is make sure that no matter what you're facing, you are as calm as possible because as soon as, especially if you're the one that's trying to step up, if they see you panicking, you're screwed because everybody's going to fall apart.
It's for me. You guys all stole my answer. You bastards.
Well, you should have went first. It was a really easy question.
You know what? As a host, I want you guys to get an answer. What if I steal one of your? What if I steal Vince's answer? He's gonna.
No, I didn't answer yet.
Quit whining, bitch.
Okay, fine. Canadian Spider, come up with a new answer.
Yeah, well,
Beer.
Plan for the worst, hope for the best. And I would say something that hasn't been mentioned is no matter what happens, no matter what conspiracy comes true, if any of them, and more it seems like a lot of them are, you're going to handle it best if you're in good physical condition. So eat right, get exercise, and be prepared. Like all kinds of things we could say here to be prepared.
Like Hulk Hogan used to say, take your vitamins and say your prayers.
That's right. Yeah. And stockpile food, ammo, all learn some skills.
Yeah.
Be prepared for whatever and don't be dependent on the government. Be independent from the government because no matter what's happening, if it's fucked up, they're probably behind it.
Yeah.
I am
checking with Elan right now. She had a little technical difficulty.
1 second. I will be right back.
I bet you will.
I shall.
Ooh. Yeah. I just got a DM. Where's Don't Be That Guy? I just say tough luck, Buttercup.
She thought we couldn't hear her, but we certainly could.
No, she was it was kind of cutting out in and out, and I think her daughter was coming through, and so here I think she's here. I'm used to this, and I don't know. This is all new to me, guys.
Hey, Herc.
Yeah, I asked, here, hold on.
Mark's 47 is in the chat. John the Beagle Dad is in there. The Lost Wanderer. Saw Zelda.
I see Jeff and I see Mark and I see...
So here, okay, so now I got to get back on track.
Okay. I'm ready.
Here we go.
There we go. She's back.
We can do it.
Yes, she's back.
All right.
I think.
So, yep. Aliens, go.
ET was a plant. I don't know.
Roll them up and smoke them.
Not that kind of plant.
So I watched a video of Tyson DeGrasse or whatever his name is. He said that Spielberg told him that ET was a plant. So I told Gary, he's like, Spielberg was just trolling him. I was like, oh man, I actually believed it.
Neil deGrasse Tyson isn't sure that trans men shouldn't compete in women's sports. So
he's such a twat.
His opinion doesn't really carry a lot of weight with me anymore. He can't tell the difference between a man and a woman.
Even in astrophysics, he's a fucking twat. I mean, and good thing Jeff, his show is beats Tyson's on Good Pods in the astronomy category.
Oh yeah,
our own stoner Jeff beats the crap out of NDT on Good Pods.
Whoa!
So,
sorry, Cosmic Bard now.
With the rest of the episode, now that we have Elan here, because there's not many men shows that have someone who has had a career like Elan, which I think is pretty cool. And if anyone has any questions for Elan about her career, about being a model, playmate, um, all that stuff, I have some questions that I was like, with PJ, who's like, ask her this, ask her that, and I was like, holy crap, he like loaded me up with a bunch of questions. He did. He locked and loaded. I was like, yeah. But
Can you guys hear me?
the what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're a
it's
little
a little
choppy though.
static.
It's a lot of static, right?
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah, we
static.
can hear you, but it's choppy.
Yeah, mine's really choppy. I feel like it's go off and come back again. It's choppy.
Yeah, try jumping out and then coming back in.
Okay.
It feels a little choppy right now.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again?
Oh dear.
So when she comes back, if there's any of you guys want to ask her about any questions, she said you can feel free to ask me anything you want. Because I think, like, here's the thing: it's how often do you get a man show that has a playmate that comes on, and we can then finally ask about the Playboy Mansion, modeling, whatever you guys tickle your pickle.
You what now?
You want to do what to my what?
You what, mate?
Huh?
You want to bite of my pickle?
I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Yes, we've heard that.
Mm.
Okay.
So I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Woo!
Yes,
We're good now. I
So
can hear you guys. I'm sorry. I got kicked off.
no, it's all
Excellent.
good. So, Alon, talk about your career from like the start, like how you became a playmate and like all that stuff. Because I think there's a lot of guys that are kind of like me growing up. I'm like, well, how the hell do you become a playmate? Like what? Like it's just like,
So,
yeah,
okay, it's quite an interesting story. When I first started getting into um being on TV, because I was 14 years old, and I don't tell anyone this, but PJ knows, he probably told you. You're too young to remember, but too young to know the show. There was a show called Soul Train, and I danced on the show when I
Oh,
was like 14 to 19. And then I started modeling, and my mother, I was modeling. I did really well, went to Europe, did Seinfeld, Fresh Prince, and a movie with Matt LeBlanc. Did a lot of TV stuff, a lot of commercials, a lot of music videos. I did Aerosmith, LA Guns, Bobby Brown, a lot of rock stuff, everything. Did a lot of that stuff. And then my mother used to work in advertising in the Playboy building. And my modeling agency was down the street. Now, my mom used to be a Playboy bunny. So the
really,
security guy knew that my mom was a Playboy bunny. He used to talk to her all the time. And he's like, who's that girl always comes in and comes to meet you all the time? So between auditions, I'd come and go to lunch with her. And they asked me to test for Playboy because the security guard said, oh, Playboy's upstairs. You should test for it. And I was like, I'm not doing that because I was in Europe. I was doing very well modeling. And so the woman who runs Playboy happens, they had her come downstairs to meet me when I came in, and then they approached me, and I was hooing and hawing. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just do it. Because my modeling agency did not want me to do it, especially back then. It's different now. So I tested for it, and of course, like it's so crazy. I actually got it like in right away. It's usually, usually when they pan pick you, it's a little different. And so they sent it to Hef, and Hef picked me, and he didn't know who my stepfather was at the time. Actually, I tested for like 6 months, and then they found out my dad's one of the original Temptations. He's the founder of the group. And so when they found that out, they're
Oh,
like, "Oh, we didn't know that. You didn't tell us that." So he had a show, and had they actually prepared to come to the show. They had me get on stage. I can't sing a lick, but I did get on stage and sang "My Girl" with them for the camera. And so my opening page it hacks me with the Temptations and "My Girl," and then just kind of went from there. And I still kept working in the industry, but that's how I ended up doing Playboy. And of course, I was at the mansion what people think about Playmates, it's so funny because Hef was so protective of the Playmates. But the girls that wanted to get in Playboy is where all the shenanigans, like you kind of saw it, because he was very strict about the brand. So he didn't want anything weird getting back to him. There if the girls, I mean, there were girls that did drugs. Some girls partied, some girls didn't. But if he found anything out that was kind of weird, he would kind of ban them from the mansion. And so we would do tours like that. We would just have to show up for a lot of the parties, and they would pay us just to come up there. And then people would be like, "Oh, can you give us a tour?" So there was all kind of celebrities, but we were just paid to be at the parties. I had my son laughing because he's in the music industry. I gave Eminem a tour of the mansion. Didn't know who he was. It was like this goofy kid. It was so funny. He was this goofy little kid, and he's like, "Oh, can she give me a tour?" And I was like, that kid needs to do his hair because it was like some weird color. It was like orange. He was trying to dye it blonde. And he had a listening party. And it was funny. And I was telling him about all the animals and the birds, and we were hanging out. 6 months later, a year later, he was like such a big star. But at that time, I was like, who's this young kid singing all this hip hop music? And he's like one of the biggest stars. So if I ever run into him, I'm gonna tell him, I gave you a tour of the Playboy Mansion. So yeah, then the rest is history. And there's a lot of stuff that went on up there, good, bad. But anything you guys want to ask me, now's the time.
Here's
But
your trap.
I'm still friends with all the playmates. So
Okay.
we're kind of like have like actually I have a promotion thing that I'm doing, not a promotion, but we're launching NFT, but it's like a lot of the artwork. I sent you some of the pictures.
Yeah.
Regarding a group of playmates. And so you'll get a chance. It's a whole series, not the Playboy pictures, but it's very sensual. It's very pretty. A lot of the girls have we have this butterfly edition, and we have these mermaid editions. And it's just your favorite girls in these different, I don't know, however you want to put it, like art pieces. It's actually pretty cool because we wanted to make it something that if guys are fans of Playboy and have people that, come and you get their signature and you can collect because Playboy doesn't really exist anymore. That mansion's gone. Somebody bought it out. You can have a piece of art piece in your house and it won't be like weird. It's still pretty and sexy, but it's not weird, right? So not weird, but you know what I'm saying. You might get married and have kids. You don't want naked girls in your house. So
They'll be
yeah.
like, Dad,
Right.
what's that? We're like, you'll find out.
Say, Dad, what's that? It's art.
Well, like
Exactly.
one of the things like growing up is like I've always been told like Playboy was kind of like the model of that side of the world.
Yeah.
And in a way it kind of is. It's like
Yeah.
it's more of like the calmer version of all that side of the stuff, but it's like modeling. It's just we want to take glamour shots.
It was classier.
Yeah.
Right.
It was-
Well, not
it
just that,
was-
but you could actually read it for the articles because P.J. O'Rourke wrote for him, Hunter S. Thompson wrote for him. I mean, all
Yes,
the classics
exactly.
of
And the
all the
cartoons were
gonzo
so
journalists
funny.
of the day.
Yeah,
The
go for
cartoons
it.
were actually funny.
The
I would agree
cartoons
with
are
that.
funny. And it's just if you look at Playboy, so many huge celebrities have done Playboy. So it's crazy when people like go, oh, it's it's not like raunchy like all the other stuff. I think one of the first episodes is why Hep was so enthralled and loved Marilyn Monroe and loved that type because she
Mhm.
was the launching of that magazine really. Um, you have people like Cindy Crawford done it, Madonna's done it, like all the big celebrities actually have done a version of Playboy. Even Kim Kardashian did Playboy early on in her career. Her layout
Did?
wasn't that great. It was not that good, which is so interesting because I had seen her in LA walking down the street. And people were like, oh, she's got this and that. And I'm like, no, I saw her one day and I was like, damn, who's that fine girl? And she like had that, she's tiny. She doesn't look like she's tiny. So back then she had this big bubble butt. And I was like, how does that girl have such a big butt? And it wasn't fake at all. And everyone says, I'm like, no, I was standing right next to her. This is early on in her career. No one knew who she was. And she had done Playboy and they did not do her any justice, which is kind of crazy. They just didn't take the time, but she wasn't the star she is. That's why.
I
And
remember
Steve Waiter, go ahead.
No, you can finish.
Oh, Steve Wada. I mean, they've got great photographers, but he was one, like there was a couple of photographers that got to pick who, like the like status photographers, who they got to pick who they wanted to shoot. So I was fortunate to get Steve Wada, but I don't think that's who she shot with. So depending on what photographer you got, that might have used someone who was new. Now that's been bought out. Unfortunately, one of the things about Playboy was you cannot make it pornographic, and his kids sold it to a German porn company. So if you log in, a lot of times, and the girls are really upset by that, you'll see some porn and they'll put a picture of a playmate, and then when you log in, of course, it directs you to something else. But people are unhappy about it because it's in our contract that, that's not what it is. And, he's gone, so they don't care. They just wanted the money.
Yeah. I remember when you mentioned Kardashian, I remember when she did, it was what, maybe 5-10 years ago, where she had like the glass or whatever and the champagne popping over it, and it's like shooting over her and like getting into the cup, and it's like on her butt. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's no physics. Like, I was like, that's gotta be Photoshop. But like, so I've seen in, like, I have a friend, I told you about this. I had a friend that was in a Weezer. If anyone knows who Weezer is, if you're in
No, never
California,
heard
you probably, I know, right? Everyone in California knows who Weezer is. But there was Beverly Hills was the song, I think it was, and they had it at the mansion, and my buddy was there, and I asked him, I was like, what was the Playboy Mansion like? Because growing up in the South, like, I didn't know what Playboy was. I just heard like the Playboy Mansion, it's like this magnificent thing. Like, was it as magnificent as what it was told, or was it kind of just like sketchy, or like what was it like
No, it
being
was
at the mansion?
really, really cool. Like the mansion was really amazing. Well, the only thing about it was when the person that bought it had believed in doing the same thing over and over, and he didn't want to change, even like with the makeup and the style. Like, he was very superstitious. So the mansion, you could tell, was from the 60s. Like, it had the brown and the orange carpet. It looked very like Brady Bunch, Partridge Family. So the inside of it really needed to be gutted. And this person totally regut the mansion, but it got rid of the whole thing of it, because if you were actually got there to go experience, it's like kind of like, and now that I look back, it's like, oh my God, that was so cool, because every celebrity wanted to be at that mansion. So you saw everybody there, and everyone's just going to have a good time. Now, I didn't see anything weird, but I always left. Like, when, I read the temperature and I'm like, okay, it's time to go home. And then I had friends who worked there, and they and the animals, I love the animals. So I would go stand there near the monkey cages and play with the monkeys. And they had this real cool owl. I used to always talk to the owl and flamingos. So to see that, you don't see that all the time. All these cool animals walking around the mansion. But one of the guys at the mansion said, and now it's coming out because you have all this Diddy stuff, right? He told me back then, don't go behind cages because there's a lot of cameras and a lot of weird stuff goes on. So stay away from this certain area.
I
And
didn't know
I
there's
did.
animals there.
Oh my
Oh yeah.
God. Like, oh, you go through this one house, and it's like every exotic bird there. Then they had a cage, like a big cage full of monkeys. Then they have the flamingos, and they had this owl. I mean, they had every kind of animal. It was really cool. So yes, and the rabbits, and that to me was so much fun because I used to love to go there just to do that. And they filmed a lot of stuff there. So yes, it was really, if you got a chance to go, the experience is actually was it's just was so much fun. And you look back now, because they had the Midnight Summer Dream party and everyone came in the lingerie. Now people are like, oh, this was going on. I'm sure back in heyday, all that weird, freaky stuff was going on. But you got to remember, like, by the time I did Playboy, Hev was already 80 years old. So he came in his pajamas and then he was going to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
did you
He
ever
DJ
meet?
was still
actually
hanging
asked.
out, but he wasn't, you still had the parties, but I didn't see anything weird. It was just fun.
Mhm.
In your time
What were
there,
you
did
gonna
you
say,
ever meet his
Ordy?
son David?
The one that runs with the older son.
Dave? Yeah, I believe the older son. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a
Like
brother.
his daughter and all of them. Yeah, because they're kind of on that board who gets to be in the magazine. And it's interesting because the two young kids who are now older, I remember when they were like little tots running around. And now they're like grown men running stuff.
Yeah, no, he
Because
was in
I've
the
been to
older
dinner
brother then
with him.
because him and I used to move in a lot of the same circles. We've been camping together a few times too with a big group, and just a generally good dude.
Yeah, and he tell you anything crazy? It's really nothing crazy like people thought.
Not really. He really didn't talk much about that life. He just kind of, because he just went off to do his own thing apart from the family, and it was just kind of like when a lot of people found out that he was half son, it'd be like, no, wait, really? Like,
Yeah, he's
just
probably was over
another
it.
dude. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you would
I
see
think
him
about
with
growing
like.
up in that lifestyle, you'd totally be over it.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like weird though. Like I would see like Hef with like 19-year-old girls, and I'd be like, ew, because and I would be so grossed out because I'm like, they're like 19, ew, and everybody's
It's
so
my
happy.
great
to be with them.
grandfather.
I'm like, that is all wrong. I would walk away. Like that's all kinds of wrong. I don't even want to see him walking away.
Well,
So
PJ actually asked me this. He goes, ask her why Whitney Houston was jealous of her. I have no idea what he's referring to. You might know this.
So when Whitney Houston first got married, I did a music video with Bobby Brown in Hawaii in a G-string on the beach, half naked in the waterfall. And I didn't even really, this weird thing is they were talking about it on the radio station. It was a big deal, but not until recently, I never saw the video of Whitney Houston talking about me in the video with him, making out with him until a year ago. Someone sent me this video and I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen it. So if you go on my Instagram, I actually posted it last year that she's like, I can't believe she's making out with him. The crazy thing is, though, what people don't understand, Whitney Houston was already on drugs when she got with Bobby Brown. He was not on drugs. He was trying to get her off the drugs. That's why they ended up breaking up because she was already heavily on the drugs. And I remember because when we were filming, he had expressed it and talked about it. His family was there. We were in Hawaii because we were there for like a week and a half filming that video, and it was pretty sad. But yeah, she was upset. But they paid me really good to do the video. I wasn't interested in Bobby Brown at
Wait,
all.
it's a 5-minute video and it takes a week.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
the director probably was a French guy. He probably wanted to be in Hawaii. I love Hawaii anyway. And, but it takes a long time because we had to do the waterfalls, then we had to do
Mhm.
the beach scene. We had to do all these different scenes, and videos take a long time to film.
Canadian Spider-Man. Have you ever been to Hawaii?
Yeah, but only the airport on my way to Australia.
Really? That's my
Yeah, in
favorite place.
1987.
I love Hawaii. I go all the time. It's one of my
So
favorite places.
if you go to Hawaii, you'll understand why this French director said we're going to film for a week.
Ah,
It's really
Well-
nice.
when we become
Yeah, it's
the
one of my
51st
favorite
state,
places.
I'll go. Yeah, I'd settle there. I love tropical. Actually, I wanted to ask you, with your career, I love tropical beaches, Thailand, Australia, you name it, Mexico, Caribbean. Have you had the chance to actually enjoy yourself when you travel to any of these tropical beaches? And are you a scuba diver? Because that's a passion of mine.
Well, yes, I get to enjoy it because when I was young and modeling, I was working, but now I just travel. So
Nice.
I love Bora Bora. I went there a couple of years ago. I really like that. My kids are both certified scuba divers, and my daughter's on the
Fantastic.
swim team. I don't scuba dive. I've snorkeled. I've swam with the manta rays at night in Kauai.
Ooh.
I don't scuba dive because I get vertigo, and so I don't do well. Like when I went out in the boat to do it was a night dive, and I get vertigo, so I just don't do stuff like that anymore. I probably would
Hmm.
try because they were trying to get me to learn, and I was like, no, because my doctor's like, with the vertigo, don't do it. So no, I don't. But both my kids are certified scuba divers.
Nice.
And
Excellent.
when during COVID, we actually moved to Maui. So they were diving. I got lots of videos. They dove lots of times.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, oh, yeah. No, I'd love to go.
Yeah. Go. Have you been to Bora Bora?
No, not yet. No.
I think that's
It's
the
on the list.
prettiest. That's the
Yep.
prettiest water I've seen. It's really beautiful
Yep.
there.
Yeah, better than Thailand, I've heard. No, the
I
Philippines
haven't
and
been.
Bora Bora will be for like 2 months each. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you would. It's amazing there.
Yep.
Food is, but make sure you bring food. Okay, this is what I want to tell everybody because I've been there, and it's so. I mean, we go to Mount Kauai all the time. We stayed in really fancy hotels. The food is so expensive, and it's okay in Bora Bora. So it's like the next time I go, I'm going to take a suitcase of perishable goods to eat
Yep.
in the room because you're in the middle of the channel. So once the hotels are each hotel, you're not on land, you're just in the water. So if you're hungry, you got to order from that hotel, which is gazillion dollars for like a bowl of a kid's pasta
Beautiful.
was almost $100. That just
Oh.
goes to show you it was that kind of expensive.
Fishing rod. You bring a fishing rod.
Yeah, so just bring some food with you. Bring some tuna and some crackers because if you get hungry in the middle of the night
Yep.
and you're in the
Bring your
hut
own
in the middle
maple.
of the water, you're gonna like be crying the blues.
See, now I'm hungry.
I know we've been talking about food the whole time. I keep bringing it back.
I
to food.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
before the show started, we ended up Vincent and Alana and I started talking about food, and we're like, "Oh man, I'm hungry."
We were talking about all kinds of recipes too. We were
Vincent's
cooking
all like
everything.
anchovies on this and that, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh man,
We were doing visual cooking.
yes." So
Then
one
Canadian
of the
Spider-Man
things,
comes up with fried chicken.
yeah,
You know, and I like rotisserie chicken. I like fried chicken if somebody cooks it.
Mm.
But I prefer
Hey, so I got to know what got you into conspiracy theories?
my just brain just went there. You know, I'm all researching. I'm on TikTok. I'm on social media. That's interesting. I want to know about pyramids. What about Atlantis? You know, one of my conspiracy theorists, and we'll see. Okay, so there's a guy named Billy Carson I follow, and he goes all over the world. I don't know if anyone follows. He's on the Science Travel Channel, and he's not the person that I heard this from, but I heard him talk about it. There was an explorer in the early 1900s who had video because there was video then that came out like in the early 1900s. I probably like towards 1920s, 1918, somewhere in there. And he had video of the Grand Canyon. And in the Grand Canyon is evidence of Egyptians and artifacts. So I saw this video. Now you can't find it on TikTok anymore. And you could tell it's black and white. And then Billy Carson said he tried to go there to visit. And that in Easter Island, he's had access to go all over the world because he's really into aliens. He's really into all that, like how we got here, whatever. He said that's the only place that they would not allow him in. And it's like NASA basically like governs it so you can't get in. They got like black are like the guards that wear all the black and stuff like that. You know, like the guys in the black uniforms. The guys
Yeah,
that come
no, I've
like,
actually
Men in Black.
I've heard the name that there's parts of it that are completely and totally off limits.
You can't
And
go.
some of
And
those
he
stories
talks
go
about.
back to the Powell expedition.
Yeah. And so he's like, there's so much evidence of people that were here. Basically, they insinuate the explorer said that the Egyptians were here, and there's a whole bunch of stuff, and you can't get near it. So that's my new conspiracy. I want to know about that.
I like that.
Yeah. So we just kind of like rediscovered America supposedly, but America was something else because supposedly a lot of Egyptians were already there before the Native Americans.
See, guys, as an Egyptian, we know things. I just didn't get that textbook yet.
So I was trying to find out new interesting stuff.
So another question that PJ told me to ask you is why you weren't in the documentary about the Playboy.
I actually
were?
did the last episode, but I did
Oh
the
wait, no,
second
he
season.
asked. Sorry, my bad. See, this is why I'm the short bus. I can't read all the way through anything. He
You
said,
have
ask
trouble.
her why she was in that documentary. Sorry, I thought I said wasn't.
So there was an episode. They wanted me to be on the first season, and a lot of girls were like bashing Playboy, and they were upset because girls got paid to be on there. I didn't do the first episode. They did ask me the first season to do it. I didn't do it, but they came to me the second season and said we're going to do people that are of color. Then they had a trans, which I didn't even know. Like recently in the early 2000s, they had a trans girl on there. I because I'm kind of like removed from it right now, and so they asked me to do it. They're going to do a very classy thing of it. And so I did. They just wanted to know about the ethnic girls on there. And this is what my response was. Because the girl kept asking me, well, what's it like to do Playboy as a black model? I like, well, have a vagina like everybody else. It's just I'm a little have more color. And it basically said there's no difference. Hef had a specific look he liked, right? So either you, well, no matter what color or race you are, he had a very specific look, and all the girls are very similar looking in features. He
Yeah.
just had that kind of look that he liked, and that's who he picked. And like I said, they just asked me to do it. Only thing that I just said was, and if you watch the episode, we didn't get the same opportunities as some of the girls got because
Okay.
there were certain jobs we didn't get because basically Playboy almost had like a Playboy modeling thing. Now I did a lot of work. I got a lot of radio, a lot of publicity, but I was already established as a model. So my experience was a little different. And I kept telling them that. I was already established. I had already been to Europe working. I was in Germany working. I lived in Austria. So I had a different experience than the Midwestern girl coming to LA from Nebraska who wanted to be in Playboy, who had never done anything before. And, the years that I did it, those two, within a year or two, Kimberly Hefner was a model. And so she kept picking models from modeling agencies, like from Elite Models, Wilhelmina, LA Models. So she kept picking that type. So she was instrumental in him going for that type of look. But all the girls had a similar look. Everyone, even the ethnic girls, had a very European look to them. So, and he had a specific body type he liked too. I didn't know that until later on. Like the torsos had to be a certain way, body shape had to be a certain way. He was very meticulous about body shape. That had a lot to do with who he picked.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a question I had, and it went poof.
That's okay. It'll come back.
I know it will. But,
Example
No.
number 11 of why you ride the short bus.
hey, you know what? I'll take it.
I'll go through your list that PJ gave you.
Here, let me pull it up right now. He said it. He texted me this morning. He's like, "Bam, bam, bam," and I was like, "Holy crap!" Okay.
I'm surprised you guys are not asking me about any of the other girls at the Playboy Mansion. No one has any.
So okay, so was like Hugh Hefner, was he kind of like just that father figure type? Because like when you see him during interviews and everything, you see him kind of like just a happy-go-lucky guy with all the women. But was he kind of like with his age, with the women being significantly younger? Was he kind of like just like a father figure, like protected you guys? Be like, don't do this, don't do that, kind of thing.
Yes, he was. He was very protective of all the girls, and everybody just hung out there. Like you could go to the mansion whenever you want. You can go to movie night. They had different things that they would do, and he would just come down to make an appearance. But he did have a group of girls that he liked that he hooked up with, still like to the very end. He had
All
a
right.
big old jar, from what I understand, of blue pills.
Hey, Orty.
And I've heard some stories about quite a few girls. He liked to have multiple women at one time. And I think that it became more of towards the end, some of the girls, just from some of the conversations, and I know some of the girls that know the girls that were involved. I think it became as he got older, he just watched the girls. Like that's what he wanted them to do. So he would organize that. So yes, he would participate in whatever shenanigans he wanted that night. I don't think he wasn't such a father figure that he just went to bed.
Hmm.
And then if he, I do know that some of the girls would come to Playboy, and then within a few months they would look different. So if he wanted a certain body type, they had a surgeon that he would have them alter them a little bit the way he wanted them.
Huh. You taking
And
notes,
that would
Canadian
be
Spider-Man?
face and body. If he would,
Mhm.
like, you could see, if you'll see some of the girls that they first got there and they'll look a little different. Especially the triplets. He had triplets and he had twins.
Oh yeah. What
Yeah,
were
because
the
he liked
names?
blonde. He had a thing. He loved blonde women, but he was obsessed with Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, I do know that he was obsessed with her. What were
Right.
the
Like I
triplets'
remember
names?
seeing. I always thought Anna Nicole Smith was beautiful. I really liked Anna Nicole Smith, and I remember seeing her there, um, quite a few times. But she was all. I felt so bad. She was always so out of it. You know.
Hmm. So after Playboy, modeling for Playboy, like what are you doing now? Like what?
So now I have a journalism degree, so I have broadcast journalism degree, and I was doing some hosting, and then I moved to Europe and had some kids. My son is in the music industry; he's a musician, so I manage his career,
Okay.
and I write. So yeah, and so I have the Elan effect. PJ knows because he's trying to. He's been on me to get it together because I was on another show with his friend. That's how I met PJ because PJ knew me from another show that he watched. And I was on there for a while, but I'm doing my own thing now. And
Okay.
yeah, and then I did a like a Ava DuVernay show a couple of years ago on NBC. It was like a family show. They wanted me to do a spin-off with my son. They wanted my stepfather on the show, but he's always on tour, so he couldn't do it. Like that didn't work out because we were doing that. But now I am actually just I'm writing and I'm producing my own stuff.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
I know PJ mentioned about your stepdad. Which I didn't know was your stepdad until today. Like, so I know he started a group. It was what
The
the Temptate.
Temptations.
Like, go about like what I'm always fascinated to know people who grew up with dads or parents who are part of big bands. Like, what was that like growing up, knowing that your stepdad was part of the help create the Temptations?
Well, I grew up around a lot of prominent people, celebrity people, and so it was normal to me. Like, you know, even today I have friends that are pretty high profile in the business, and they're just people I grew up with. So it's a little different when you grow up around it. It's kind of normal. It's weird because people that move to LA, it's usually the people that immigrate here, that come
Hmm.
here, not immigrate, but that imports.
Yeah.
And no matter, you could be from Jersey or whatever, Florida, those are the people that see the lifestyle here and they see people out and they're like, oh my God, it seems like a fantasy and it's crazy. But the people that are from LA, and I basically, even though I wasn't born here, I grew up here for the most part. It's just kind of the norm, your everyday life, seeing and being around certain people. And if you're in that industry, you come from that pedigree, you're kind of already know those people and you're friends with them because it's LA's cliquish anyway, very cliquish. So it's kind of, you're in that circle.
All right. Cool.
So it was nice. Like everyone, there's some people that are not nice. You just don't deal with those people. I could care less. And like, if you're not a nice person, I don't want to be around you. So I just kind
Yeah.
of do my own thing, right? But I have some really high profile people that are my best friends that we go to the movies all the time. We're always together, and if we go out and my girlfriend's husband gets stopped all the time. Like we're like wherever we go, they're like, oh my God, but we're so used to people like addressing him. We just kind of stand to the side and let people take their pictures.
Cool. Does anybody else, any of the other guys, have any questions?
Actually, I have one, and it looks like Jeff had a similar question. So
Yes.
as far as being a playmate, were there any like cliquish things that went on between the girls? And if so, how did you guys navigate those? Just kind of
Oh yeah,
one
the
of the
girls
folks.
would fight amongst each other, and then all the girls would get mad because they would get catty because everybody wanted to be Playmate of the Year. So they would do all kind of crazy stuff. They would sabotage each other, and some of the
Sounds like
girls I've
dudes.
seen have fights. I just sit back and laugh because there was a room. Okay, so where the grotto is, right? You guys heard of the grotto where the pool is?
Mhm.
There's like the
Yeah.
little thing. So in the grotto, even though there you hear about the tunnels because you're about the city stuff, the girls are calling each other about it, right? We're like, oh my God, there really was a tunnel in there. And I go, it makes sense because there was a room. Whenever we were hosting a party, we would go in this room where the grotto is. But no one would know because it's a rock. And you go in there and it has a staircase that spirals and goes downstairs. And so it would look like the Partridge Family Brady Bunch room and had like spongy pillows and you know whatever would probably went on back in the day. But we would hide out there because we didn't want to like walk around or got cold. They were like, we're just gonna hide here. No one will follow us, right? We would be sitting in that room, but that room all went all the way down. And so yeah, the girls would go in there and get arguments. Oh, you're not giving me attention. Oh, this person was looking at me, and they're trying to, because there's celebrity guys there and they're trying to get attention. So you saw that kind of stuff all the time. Um, for the most part, it was pretty tame. There was one girl that I really liked, and I see her all the time. She was always drunk. She ended up overdosing, which was sad. You always had situations like that. But for the most part, I wasn't a I wasn't privy to a lot of stuff, but I know a lot of things that went on. So yes, and there was a lot of cattiness. There was a lot of gossip, and I saw some girls fight one time. I thought it was pretty funny.
I would have paid.
Picturing Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan trying to get for.
This is funny.
Oh, you want to be Playmate of the Year?
Yeah. But the thing is, they were like plot. Those girls were plotting, like, okay, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna say that about her. Like one girl went to Brunei. So back in the day, there was the Salt and the Brunei were bringing these playmates over, and these girls would come out back with millions of dollars in jewelry, like diamonds and rubies. That's how they were sneaking their money back in. And one particular girl was supposed to be Playmate of the Year, and she didn't get it because Hefner found out she went to the Brunei.
Ooh, wow.
Ooh.
And the other girls were like, well, I needed the money and I knew I wasn't going to get Playmate of the Year. So they went over and got their money, and then they came back and told on her because they wanted to make sure she didn't get it. Like they did catty stuff like that.
Man, women are man.
Treacherous.
Guys don't do that. Like
No.
No, girls that have no loyalty at all. It's
Forks on the left, spoons on the right, knives in the
Yes.
back. Yes.
Oh, of course.
man.
That's why they can't be in the military.
Yeah, there's no.
But
Yeah, they get mad and stab each other.
That's right.
But I tell you one thing: we were in the military. We would figure a way to beat the other side because we would plot and be sneaky. Like women are plotters, so we would plot how to get them. We have a better strategy.
I'll give you that one. Oh man, I remember when I was in LA. I was dating a Latino chick when I was in college, years before I met my wife.
Wait, hang on. You were dating a Latino? Are you pulling a CSM right now?
No,
Yeah,
it's fine, Latino.
Go ahead.
Gendered
Go ahead. Tell me
language is
about the story.
gendered.
I'm from the
It
South,
pertains to
y'all.
LA because there's so many beautiful girls here. Go ahead. There's a
Yeah.
lot of pretty Latina chicks.
I
here.
remember I was dating this chick who was Latina, and there was a cat fight, and I thought it was the most entertaining thing in the world. And they all looked at me like, "Why are you chuckling, having a beer?" I was like, "Because this looks like the South. It's a bunch of hogs just fighting each other," and they didn't know what I was talking about at all. I think still today, like to me, when women just like when they set their goal of like we're gonna destroy this one person, not like physically, but just emotionally, just walk away. Like
Yeah.
I've learned that. Just walk away.
Just walk
Yep.
away.
Just
No,
walk
they'll
away.
plot to get you. They don't care
Oh,
because
yeah.
women are catty like that. They like sit there and go, okay, when she comes in. And I tell my son, because my son deals with a lot of jealousy because he's done this place called the Troubadour, which is like a big deal. Elton John, that was like what made him a big star. So it's kind of like a rite of passage to play at the Troubadour in Hollywood, right? But But his friends, he's finding out as a young man that they're jealous. And I said to him, I go, look, just at my age, I was in Playboy when I was young. People are just going to be jealous. They're going to always
Mhm.
be like that, especially if you're doing stuff. You just have to be aware and navigate and just don't tell people your business. I said, do not tell anyone what you're doing until you finish.
See,
Ooh,
that's good advice.
smart.
Yeah.
That's guys, if you're watching, that's some good
Not
advice.
until you finish.
Yeah.
That includes dating.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
includes
Did that
everything.
too.
Yeah.
That
Everything.
too. Don't tell them until you're done.
hmm So I have a question. This involves your son. What does your son do? It's with
So he's in.
his foundation, right? Is that what it is?
Oh,
The
oh yeah, yeah. So I'm glad. That's a good question. He has something called. It's called TAC. My son's name is Trace Austin Price, which is his initials. So it's Together All Protected. When he was growing up, he was really tiny. Like he was just a little guy. Like he was 4'11" in high school. Um, Always really small. So he got beat up all the time. I put him in martial arts. I put him in something called Krav Maga, which is it's like Israeli martial arts type of thing. Like they do a little bit of everything. Um, and so he learned to fight. He would have to fight the big kids. And I was like an old school mom. I was like, don't you come home with your butt kicked. If someone hits you, I don't care if you have to bite them or grab them by the balls. I'd like, you punch them as hard as you can.
Yep.
So I
My
taught him how
mom
to
used to
fight
tell me the
dirty. I was like,
same
you bite
thing.
his leg and you grab their balls and go,
Yeah.
So he said this one kid, he's like this one kid I'll never forget. And he was like 4'8" in junior high. And he's like, this one kid jumped him. It was really big. And he heard my voice. And he's like, grabbed the kid's balls and was like, squeeze them as hard as he can. The kid jumped up. Now he got beat his ass.
Twist the dick.
So, right.
Grab his dick and twist it.
But he had the craziest stuff happen.
That's extra.
So when he started getting into, singing and acting and all of that, and we had this publicist, I had some videos of him getting beat up. One of the kids filmed it and posted it on Snapchat, and I filmed it on Snapchat. And the school was scared because I had it on video. And so we formed this organization for kids that are being bullied. And it's not just for kids. We're going to open it up for adults because a lot of adults get bullied too,
yeah.
you know? And, these kids are now committing suicide because when we were kids, and I'm older than you, like when we were kids, you fought it out or you went to the principal's office. Now the schools don't do anything about it. They just kind of let you get beat up. So,
Yeah.
or they'll say, oh, you can't call the parent. And I wasn't like that. But a lot of parents aren't like me. I'd call the parent and I'm like, listen, you need to check your kid. If you don't check your kid, then I'm coming after you because I'm pretty tall. I'm 5'9". And his dad was pretty, Mike's this really tall guy. But my son was just so little for so long. He finally started growing. But that's why we formed the organization. Because no kid should feel bad about anything or any of his flaws. And you can tell when your child is being mistreated because his behavior will change at home. And I tell parents that. Pay attention to your kids' behavior. If something seems off or they're not excelling or they're withdrawn, those are signs, and definitely don't want kids hurting themselves. And a lot of kids with the social media has made it worse because you're already scared to go to school the next day. Then you get bullied on social media, and they group together, did all kinds of stuff. Some kids rolled up in my house one night, late at night, and I went outside with my bat and told them, they said they're going to beat my son up because they need to talk to him and because they felt disrespected. Now, mind you, my son went to private school. So he's going to these really high end private schools. He's not like going to school in the hood or anything. These, kids are like fighters. But Mama Bear went out and it's like, you got to beat me up first. And I'm from Jersey, so I have no problems fighting.
Right.
And
No,
so, but
it's
anyway, that's not why I have the organization. But I have the organization to help kids. I have organizations for men who are being bullied, women who are being bullied, people are being bullied by their sexuality, right? So, and we're gonna have people. A lot of kids are in the arts. A lot of kids are not necessarily the academic kids, or they may have learning disabilities. So we're gonna have like therapy for people who just want to talk to someone. Just if you can save anyone's life, and something that they could get into. They might want to take self-defense classes, or they'll actually have a an opportunity to learn how to be an actor or be do films. So there's a lot of
I
different things that we're offering.
After the show, I want to get if you can send me the link. I actually
Okay.
want to, because I watched I think it was Maria T and Tell that you
Yeah.
guys were on, that you talked about, and I told PJ, I was like, I want to support this. I really
Oh
do,
no, I totally appreciate
because
that.
I was bullied growing up. I'm still bullied on this podcast by these schmucks, and
and it's
Not
no
But
enough.
serve
bullying with
too.
love.
It's
It's
but
not
different.
like you haven't earned every
You had
bit
it
of it,
coming.
sir.
yeah. So what I want to do is, once I get the link and everything, I want to post it on my X account,
Oh, I
Facebook,
appreciate that.
Instagram, whatever I can, and let everyone who watches this podcast, let them know, like, check this out. I really want this, because this, like, what your son is doing is really important. It's
Oh yeah, and he
because
talked about it. It was very hard for him to talk about it because he got beat up a lot. Like
yeah,
since a little kid, and so it was very difficult. One of the things that I do want to do, and I want to express this to everybody, and it's one of the things that we're going to plan on it, and we've been planning on it. We want to get support because I think that a lot of kids, as long as the parents are okay with it, we're going to do a furry friend. And I'd like to do once a month or once every quarter, have a kid who has a furry friend. So if you don't have any, anyone, a working parent, that kid can have a dog or a cat. And I want to raise enough money so we can support that family for at least a couple of years, so their medical and food and stuff, so they can have something to love. And I think that would help. So many times you're like sad, and then you have an animal. I have 4 dogs and a cat. So so long as we can help that kid, it can be something like a lizard. A parent may not want a kid to have a dog or a cat, but maybe a lizard or some fish, something that they can love. And so we want to support kids who can have furry friends, and something that they can care about and cares about them. And that would help them heal or help them get better. And so that's one of the things that we plan on doing right away.
see, I like that, because you know what's going to happen is there's going to be a kid who's going to get a dog, and something's going to happen to the dog, and you're going to get a John Wick in reality.
I
But
know.
I I really do like what your son is doing, and that's been on my heart. I was like, dude, I really appreciate what you and your son are doing, and I want to help promote that and push for that. So anyone who's
Thank
watching
you.
who follows me on X, I'm gonna, when I get the link, I'm gonna share it on Facebook, anywhere that you guys follow me on social media, TikTok or whatever it is. Um, Go support this, because that's important. I think
Yeah.
that it's I liked when you mentioned, when you, as a mom, that's not the typical, like, you would confront the mom like, hey, look, you need to talk to your kids.
Yeah.
Like, I'm old school. Like, my mom, when I played soccer and I got tripped during soccer, which is normal, my mom, in my head, grew a tail and a pitchfork, and she was about to, like, nail the kid who tripped during soccer.
Yes.
I think any parent who is like steadfast and be like, boom, like, I'm gonna protect my kids, and
Yeah.
I think what your
And
son's doing is really awesome, and I
you
would
yell
love to
words of
have him.
encouragement. Take him out. Ah!
Yeah.
This is mom kicks him. But
Oh
I would
Uncle
no,
love to
Len.
have
you
him.
get so angry,
I
and
would.
some of the parents, were like, whatever. And I said, whatever. I know this one lady, this one kid stole my son's money, and he kept asking. So I told the mom, and I said, look, your son took my son's $100. I mean, he brought $100 to school, and I'm sure he wants to have friends and buy them lunch, but that's unacceptable. So you need to give me the money back, because they had money. And
Mhm.
she just made a comment like, well, your son shouldn't have given it to my son. I was like, oh, okay. So I went and got her son in trouble, because I went to the school and I told them, and she was upset. And I said, this is the reason why your son's like that. And I am not that mother, because see, we're off school grounds. One time I rolled up on a teacher, because the teacher was bullying my son, and I waited until he got off school grounds. And the headmaster called me and said, "Did you roll up on the teacher?" And I said, "Yeah, you should not be calling me. He was off school grounds." I waited. I followed him to his car. I'm suited and booted. And
I
they were like, "We're going to do this." It's like, "No, you're not, because I'm paying for my son to go to school here. And this is unacceptable. You're not going to do it again." And I had no more problems, but they didn't like to see me coming because I kind of stood up to them. So every time, what they do is when a kid gets bullied, and I experienced that, and a lot of kids, parents will tell you this. The school, if they side with the parents, or the parents are like their kid is good in sports or whatever, they favor that family. They will make it seem like your child's the reason why they're getting bullied. And now you see a lot of kids committing suicide for that reason. They won't
Victim
do anything,
blaming.
and they know about it.
ah,
And so whenever I see like a child who's lost their life because they were bullied, and then the history comes out that the parents, I mean, the school knew and did anything, it just kind of really, and although my son's 20, it really bothers me because I know what that's like. I know I experienced it. And so whatever I can to help, and I have a younger daughter, she's still in high school. But if I can help someone and help a kid mentally and emotionally, say it's gonna be fine. This is just high school, this is just junior high or grammar school, it will get better. But you can't tell a child that because they're not developed mentally yet.
mm-hmm. No, yeah, man. I think every mom should be like you. What you do
Well,
to my
thank you.
son? All right, I'm gonna go follow you at your call, and I'm gonna
I
go beat.
swear. I'm from Jersey, that's the Jersey in me.
My wife told me she told me the other day. She goes, when we start having kids and they're in high school and they get picked on, because my wife did the whole she did track, she did soccer, and then she did marching band. So she's like a big nerd. She's the smart one. I married up. I got the
Oh,
smart
good.
one, and then I'm like the film nerd and all this stuff. And she's like, "What if our kids gets like picked on?" I'm like, "Man, I'm gonna be ripped from Yellowstone. I'm just gonna follow the dad." And even though I'm
Yeah,
5'4", I'm still gonna follow him. I'm gonna creep him out a little bit. I'm like,
that's
your
exactly.
son's an idiot.
Well, that's what it's the parents. So I
Yeah.
have one more funny story. So okay, my son went to school, and it was Mark. What's the Latin singer that was married to Jennifer Lopez?
Mark
Mark
Anthony?
Anthony.
Mark
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony. Okay, so Mark Anthony's son decides to be funny and pull up my pictures in Playboy in class and kept teasing my son. And my son was getting upset. And we warned the school, and I was like, "Listen, I did the Playboy in the 90s. The kid needs to stop. Just leave him alone." Although my son knows he's okay with it, but he's making not nice comments and showing naked pictures. And if he is showing naked pictures of his mother, then what's wrong with him? Like, he's demented, because why is he showing pictures of me? Like, obviously he wants to
Yeah.
look at me, right? So they didn't do anything. So they were like, "Oh, well, I don't know." They came up with some excuses. So I told my son, I said, "Okay, next time he does that, you tell him that's why J-Lo dumped your dad." So
Nice.
and left her for that, like left him for Ben Affleck. And so he did, and he got in trouble. And they called me and they said, "Your son said this." I was like, "Yeah, I know he said it. I told him to say it." And they go, "But you did nothing when I told you to stop," because he was upset. He was crying, and he's showing naked pictures in the class. So I told him, tell him about Mark Anthony. To this day, we have seen that kid, and now my son's taller. He's not super big, but that kid is still angry with my son. But Mark Anthony, J Lo did dump him for Ben Affleck. So,
If any woman who's watching right now, who's thinking about having
huh?
kids, be this type of mom. Just I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
Right.
I'll play dirty like they play dirty. I'm like, "You want to play dirty, kid? I'll get down and dirty with you."
I've noticed West Coast moms are a little bit soft. East
A
Coast
little
Yeah,
bit.
other moms, they're like, just gouge them in the eyes.
yeah. I still have the East Coast in me, even though I grew up here.
That's good. I like that. I think that's the thing. I think that especially boys, when they grow up, when they get parents that are like, you need to defend on yourself at that young age, not like the world's coming to an end and all that stuff, but just like, you know what, you're gonna deal with things as you
Hmm.
progress to being an adult. It's how
Hmm.
you handle it, and I really appreciate how you raised your son, and I think it's cool, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. He really is. He's a cool kid and he's very kind. Like if he sees someone homeless, and I always say now it's kind of crazy you can't because sometimes people attack you, but he's like always was that kid like, oh, can we go get them a mattress? Like he's very kind hearted like that. Like
Yeah.
he wants to help everybody. Like he sees the good and he's and he grew up in Europe, so he's very like open about everything. He's very sweet.
That's cool. I would love to meet him and just talk to him. Like
Oh, you should.
I
He's
really
at shows
appreciate
all the
what he
time. Yeah, you guys have
nice.
to meet. You have to have him on the show. He's so funny. He's actually has the
I
funny.
would
He
love
says
to
it.
if he wants to come on, I would totally bring him on and just pick his brain. I really do appreciate what he's doing, and it's yeah. But on that note, I want to do, since we can't do, we're different platforms of streaming, is I'm just, I don't have my cue cards with me, my cue cards. We're going to do tip of the hat where we go around the table and we give respect because society doesn't, slowly it's coming back, but doesn't really appreciate masculine men the way we grew up on. It's a little bit different, and I want to go around the table and just ask you guys who played an important role in your life. We It's pretty much can come down to anyone, like your mom. I think that's important. I think Jeff brought that up. I forget who brought that one up a few months back, but Canadian Spider-Man, who is your tip of the hat for the week?
Yeah, well, considering the theme, I thought that I would do
It's gonna be
Bruce
Pamela
Lee.
Anderson, isn't it?
No, 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 no. I'll stick with guys every week because it's a men's show. No, this is Bruce Lee. He was a great inspiration to me personally for discipline, mentally and physically, and training and just persistence. Absolute persistence. He had a lot against him, and he was able to succeed and become one of the most famous people in the world, and still is decades later. They put a statue of him in Kowloon in Hong Kong Harbor for he's just an incredible guy. And conspiracy theory, right? Who knows what the true cause of his death was? That's a big conspiracy. So that's another reason to choose him.
All right, Rick.
Oh, let's see. I don't know. Trying to it's weird because for once, Canadian Spider-Man and I are nearly on the same page. I was actually going to mention Chuck Norris, who was another big
Bastard, I
martial
was going to
artist. He
say
was a
Chuck Norris
big.
too. Now I'm going to change
He
my
stole
whole
your
card.
answer.
Damn it!
But yeah, no, I mean, he was always a big inspiration of mine, and actually, he got me interested in martial arts. And I'm actually a nobody. I don't tell anybody this, but I'm a brown belt in Taekwondo. So, or I was until I got Kim. Now it's basically I can do the arm stuff still. The legs don't work so well.
Ordy.
In keeping with the theme of the week and the conspiracy theory and what the government isn't telling us, I'm going to go with Bob Lazar. He really stuck his neck out. A lot of people say he's a crank and he just made up his experiences from Area 51. But and listening to him, he got the hard stuff right and the easy stuff wrong. And his appearance on Joe Rogan, where after a while, a lot of the things that he said, elements that didn't exist at the time, have come into fruition. One of them being Moscovanium, I think it is. It was an element that at the time didn't exist, and he was talking about it. And he took a lot of shit. They tried to ruin him by setting him up with prostitutes and everything. But I deep down think that I think America owes him an apology. And so that's my tip of the hat this week.
All right. Vincent.
Yes, hello. How are you? I'm going to go against the grain because all you people are talking about people.
Of course you would.
Yeah, of course, because c'est moi. I'm going to talk about my mom.
Everyone else is.
I'm sorry, you what?
You said
yes.
everyone else was.
Okay. Yeah. She was 22 years old when she came to this country from France. She was from the Lyon area and met my dad, married, had 4 kids, and she was rather a lot like Elan. She didn't put up with shit. She didn't speak English very well. That made it more funny when you have somebody cussing you out in French, in pidgin French and pidgin English, and just if she saw that somebody was fucking with me, one of the neighbor kids, she would literally drop whatever she was doing, all 5'4" of her, fly out the front door and just start swinging. She didn't give a shit.
I like that.
She did not give a shit.
Oh,
And then she would laugh about it, and she would tell my father about it, and my father would be like this. I think this was what my father did for most of the 42 years they were married. And yeah, so Mom, I love you.
Nice, nice. Elan. Sorry, I
well,
always want to say Elaine. I got corrected real
that's
fast.
okay. I like your mom. She sounds like me. Well, I'm gonna actually say, since it's a man show, I'm gonna say my stepfather because he actually taught me the business. I don't have any musical talent. I can't sing, so he told me that he'd rather hear a fat baby fart than hear me sing. So he said stick to modeling and acting.
Ouch.
I know, but it's okay. I know I can't sing. I'm a good cook. So, but as far as the industry, I'm able to help my son because he taught me the ropes. He actually is the business side of the group. So if anyone's old enough to know who the Temptations are, he had 37 members. But he owns the group. He put the group together, and he's still going. He's still on the road in his 80s. So he's still rocking and rolling, and because he's opened those doors for me, I'm able to open those doors for my son because of my relationship. So his name kind of got me in
Mm.
the door, but he also taught me how to be professional, how to deal with people, because I used to be really shy. So it taught me how to handle business and don't be afraid to walk into the room and deal with anybody. um, and I want to just respond to you about Chuck Norris. My dad's bodyguard, he passed away. His name was Butch. Chuck Norris's sparring person was my dad's bodyguard, and I was really close to him. He was like an amazing guy, and his name was
Dang.
Butch. He actually beat Chuck Norris up. He was really amazing, but he
What?
died years ago. And Chuck Norris will tell you, if you ever talk to him, you'll ask him about. There's videos he'll talk about Butch. This guy named Butch, little
All
guy
right.
too. I mean, this guy was tiny, but he was badass. So that's my Chuck Norris story.
Nice, nice. See, little guys have a shot.
I was just gonna say, little guys are badasses.
I know, right? My tip of the hat is Tom Selleck. I was watching his. I consider it the Hallmark movies that he did as a detective or sheriff or whatever it is. They're filmed very badly, but just seeing his struggle in life as a cop in those films. I can't think of the names right now.
The Jesse Stone movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horribly
I
filmed, but yeah, they're based
Sorry.
on really, really, really good books.
The movie.
Yeah, you
see.
you
Once you mention Tom Selleck, the dogs are like, "What? Tom
Yeah.
Selleck?"
I know. There's somebody in my son's coming to the door, and they're barking anyway. Shush.
No, they're eating the dogs.
Get
It's
her.
all good.
I'm gonna throw shoes at my dog. I'm so sorry.
No, you're totally fine.
No,
It's
they're
to me, Tom Selleck. Every time I see him on screen, I got to meet Mel Gibson. He played just seeing him. I'm like, wow, you'd be like the father I never had. Tom Selleck is like the man I never got to know kind of situation, and just with how he holds himself, it's very moral. It's very much like we're gonna do this and this and this. And I have a lot of friends that worked with him, and they're like, dude, he's great. And I tell them you could shut the fuck up because he's like one guy I want to meet and hang out with because I really adore who he is as a man. He really sets himself as I'm the father figure of all knowing. And I really appreciate with how when I see his interviews or read his books, it's you learn a lot of how to be a man.
Yeah, he's very
And
masculine.
it he is, but here's the thing: he doesn't look it like everyone. Like today and age, everyone like the masculine is like how much muscle. Like masculinity to me is how you present yourself around people,
Oh
and
yeah.
he's very quiet. And from what I've been told, he's very quiet, and he presents this way of leadership that no one else has, and I really appreciate it. And if you ever want to like learn something from him. It's even when you watch Blue Bloods, it's like the soap opera for guys on CBS. It is, and for older people.
I watch it. Do you watch Magnum PI at all? Did you watch
Oh,
Magnum PI back in the
I
day?
yeah,
love that.
Lordy, oh man,
That's when he
Hey,
was
you want
like
to
the
see peak,
cool, good-looking marble man then, right?
yeah.
you want to see peak Tom Selleck, High Road to China.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That movie's fantastic.
yeah, definitely.
So it's
But I
if
know
you
what you're saying. He comes across masculine, and you don't have men that have that kind of aura. Movie stars today, which I
yeah,
should say, that you see
it's
in
like
movies.
when he comes in the door, like when you come into like a party in the house, a house party or something, an event, you
Yeah.
come in, walk in, you'll see some people just look, and it's
Right.
that guy. He is that guy. Like when he
Yeah, he's
walks in,
regal.
everyone looks at him and like, okay, this is he is like the stature of what a real man is, and
Mhm.
yeah, he's my tip of the hat.
You know, the great thing about him too is like, you know, you look at him and you're like, hey, is that a TV's hottest, star like back in the 80s? Or like, is that a friend of my dad's? You
Yeah,
know, he had kind of the same quality, still was able to pull it off.
yeah. But on that note, I want to thank everyone, Vincent, Ordy, Rick, Canadian Spider-Man, and Elan. Thank you guys for coming on. I know Elan has been trying to come on a few times. I know we were trying to do some cooking episodes in November. It wasn't able to work out just with the Rumble Studios and stuff. But I really appreciate having you on. This has been a
Thank you
lot
for
of
having
fun.
me. I'm glad I
And
made it.
yeah, I had a lot
That
of
was
fun and
fun.
hope to have you on other episodes. Next week we're going to talk about muscle cars. And yeah, all right. And in 2 weeks we're going to do a special episode of first responders. I have a buddy of mine who's going to come on and he's going to talk. He's a retired firefighter. So if you know any firefighters that want to come on and talk about first responders, not even firefighters, and like paramedics, police officers, anyone in that background, just to have a conversation. Um, I'm going to do that in a couple weeks.
As somebody I will say this, as somebody who used to run towards gunfire, people who willingly run into burning buildings even scare me.
There, I told my buddy when I found out he was a retired firefighter, I was like, "Are you all there in the head?" He's all like, "Maybe."
Yeah, that's
And
my
you're not
kind of
wrong.
stupid.
They're firefighters are a special kind of crazy that I cannot be
Yes.
able to do.
No,
So
they're
we're
a
gonna
special
do.
kind of person to be able to go into those fires and save lives like that. And especially like just even what we have going on in LA, so many
Mhm.
firefighters saved animals, so many animals.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna do that in a couple weeks. Next week is gonna be muscle cars in general.
Yeah, the
Hopefully,
Fiat 500. Yeah.
you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And this Saturday, I might do a Lego build. It might be a big piece, might be a small one. I don't know. And then
When are you going to build the Death Star, man?
no one sent it to me,
Oh,
so
okay.
I got a
So
Millennium Falcon.
I have to hook you
Yeah,
up with my daughter because she builds really intricate Lego sets, like the big ones, like the very
you have my
intricate moving
attention.
part ones. Huh?
You have my attention. I'm a big fan of Lego.
Oh my God. She like has
What
all
the
the
hell is an
castles,
aluminum falcon?
all the Harry Potter stuff she's done. Um she's done the Eiffel Tower. Like she's got some every time she buys the Lego set, I'm like, we have nowhere to put it. And they're like $1,000 sets. They're expensive. Of
Yeah.
course my dad buys them for her, so I'm not buying her $1,000
Yeah.
Legos. But that's her thing.
All
So
right.
I need to introduce you to her because She really is really good. I don't know how she put those pieces together.
For me,
but she's
my
very
wife
good at it.
said for you to do the Millennium Falcon, I got Disney Sheepherder. If he probably watching the rewind, but he sent me the Dark Millennium Falcon for Christmas, and my wife said
Oh.
for you to build this, you need to put your shelf up. So I'm gonna do that
Yeah.
tomorrow, so I can do it soon, because yeah. So then I can display all my Lego sets in the back.
He's
It's
doing
yeah.
a shelf build
Oh,
before he
wow.
does a Lego build.
I will do I'll probably film me filming it, and then you guys will
You
see
should.
how a contractor
Well,
gets
then
pissed off. So it's not going
there's
to
no
get
real
turned
point.
in.
I'm gonna
Fuck
send-
you,
I'm gonna-
IKEA!
I know, right? I'd punch a hole in the wall.
I'm gonna send you pictures of the ones that she does.
Yeah, definitely.
So you guys can
I'll
talk.
send you pictures of the Lego sets I've done. I will not do the Back to the
Oh, she'll
Future
love it.
car again, but yeah. So and then also for more conversations podcast is going to be during the Super Bowls, and we're going to do a podcast during that. So
Mhm.
those are the upcoming events. I want to thank everyone in the chat and everyone who came on. And this has been a lot of fun doing this conversation. I will see you guys next week. And if you guys want, you can check out the Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and X. When I get your son's link up, and then I'll start sharing that with everyone. You can check that out. I would recommend go and check that out. It's very important about stopping people, bullying people. It's stupid. I've been there, being bullied. It's not fun. I think that's really important. So, yeah. On that note, I will catch you guys later. Sorry we don't have any outro sound or any of that stuff, but